The overworld you play in isn't a sandbox. It's a graveyard, a massive quarantine zone left behind by the ancient builders when they realized they couldn't stop the spread. We call it the Lobotomy Protocol, a desperate chain reaction of survival, evolution, and irreversible damage. Everything you think you know about Minecraft mobs is wrong. They aren't random. They are what's left of a civilization that destroyed its own mind just to survive. Let's look at the evidence, starting with the survivors. Villagers aren't a different species. They are the descendants of the ancient builders who didn't make it to the end portal. When the skulk infection spread across the overworld, it didn't hunt by sight. It hunted by sound. The Wardens killed anything that made a noise, so the survivors adapted. They stopped speaking. Over generations, their voices disappeared. Their language died. They didn't evolve. They suppressed themselves just to stay alive. Every hum you hear isn't communication. It's all they have left. But silence wasn't enough. As their minds began to fade, fear took over, and fear builds protection. The villagers didn't just lose their voices. They lost their minds. The infection didn't kill them. It erased them. Their knowledge vanished. The ability to mine, to build, to survive, gone. But right before everything disappeared, they created something. One final invention. Not alive, not conscious, but strong enough to fight when they no longer could. The Iron Golems aren't just protecting villagers. They're protecting what's left of them. A silent defense for a silent species. That protection worked for those who accepted what they had become, but not everyone accepted it. Not everyone accepted the silence. Some refused to be erased. The Illagers aren't evil villagers. They're what's left of the scientists, while the rest surrendered. They isolated themselves, retreating deep into the woodland mansions, still thinking, still experimenting, trying to fight the infection instead of adapting to it. The Vexes, the totem of undying. These weren't curses. They were attempts, failed solutions to an unstoppable problem. But their experiments went too far. They weren't trusted anymore. They weren't understood, so they were exiled. Not because they were evil, but because they refused to stop. And when the last thinkers are pushed too far, their solutions stop being controlled. They become weaponized. Exiling the scientists didn't stop them. It made them dangerous. The pillager outposts aren't bandit camps. They are quarantine checkpoints, a militarized system built to contain the infection. The same rogue scientists, just without limits. Look at the Iron Golems locked in cages. They aren't being tortured. They're being studied, reverse-engineered, as a weapon against something worse. And those patrols you see wandering the world, they're not random. They're scanning, watching, containing anything that might be infected, including you. The checkpoints, the patrols, the control. It still wasn't enough, because the parasite had a flaw, and it was already spreading. The quarantine didn't fail. It missed something. The parasite spread across the overworld, consuming everything it could reach. But there is one thing it cannot touch: the zombie villagers. The Warden doesn't hunt randomly. It listens for movement, for fear, for a living mind to infect. But the undead have none of that. No fear, no thoughts, no signal. The zombie virus wasn't just a disease, it was an immunity, a mutation that made them invisible to the parasite itself. The skulk doesn't consume them. It ignores them, leaves them behind, because you can't erase something that's already gone. By then, it was too late. The living were gone, replaced, silenced, or left behind. But the builders didn't abandon the world completely. The builders didn't just leave the overworld, they left something behind. An observer. The wandering trader isn't a merchant, he's a scout. When night falls, when the infected rise, he doesn't fight. He disappears, using invisibility to hide from something that hunts the living. Everything he carries isn't for trade, it's evidence, fragments of a world that didn't survive. He doesn't wander aimlessly, he's searching, moving from place to place, hoping to find one thing, someone who hasn't been changed. And if he found you, would he trade or would he report you? The pieces are all there. The silenced villagers, the desperate golems, the exiled scientists, and their quarantines, the ignored undead, and the observer, still watching. This isn't a world you're building. It's one you're exploring after the collapse. Every structure you find is evidence. Every mob you see is a survivor. And you are not outside the system. You're inside it. This is the Lobotomy Protocol. If you made it this far, you know the truth. Subscribe to QuickFacts Hub, because this world doesn't end here, and the Nether is worse.